The newly elected Vice Chancellor of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University UNIZIK, Professor Bernard Odo, says he's still in charge of the institution located in Awka, Anambra State. The institution, named after the first president of Nigeria, late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, has been embroiled in a crisis over the position of Vice Chancellor. On October 29, 2024, the governing council of the institution, led by Pro-Chancellor and Chairman Ambassador Greg Mbakwe, elected Odo as the new substantive Vice Chancellor. Since then, the center has refused to hold, as the Federal Ministry of Education declared the decision of the governing council null and void. However, the personal assistant, media and publicity to the Vice Chancellor, Charles Otu, in a statement insisted that based on Nigeria's extant laws, the Ministry of Education only oversees general educational standards across the nation and does not have the legal power to direct or control the daily decisions of the University Council, including who should be appointed as Vice Chancellor. Thus describing the letter purportedly, in quote, emanating from the Federal Ministry of Education as false and misleading. Joining us on the show is Professor Mohammed Aminu Mohammed, President, Medical and Dental Consultant Association of Nigeria. He'll be joined later by Professor Kingsley Ubaoji, Chairperson, Academic Staff Union of Universities, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. Professor Mohammed, let's go straight to it. What is happening in UNIZIK? And what's the take of the President Medical Dental Council on this? And why is there a need for the Dental Council slants on this matter?
Thank you very much, Rupai. I'm happy to be here this morning to discuss the issue that, if not handled properly, it is going to throw the university education into turmoil, because it shows that there are reckless disregards to the rule of law, due process, and even the constituted authority where they claim to have the university autonomy on. The university autonomy is vested on the full council, governing council of the university, and also the Senate. None of them can act independently, or none of them is supposed to act without having a full quorum. What is happening in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, is a total disregard to the due process and the rule of law. And the grouges, I must make a correction here. I'm not representing Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. I'm representing Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria. This is the association of the top echelon of medical profession that are responsible for the teaching at both undergraduate in the universities and postgraduate in the postgraduate colleges that are responsible for producing specialists in Nigeria. Our responsibility, we train in the university and we train the postgraduate medical educators in our various teaching hospitals. And in addition, we offer specialist services to Nigerians, and also we conduct research. What is happening in Awka is that right from the release of that advert for the position of the office of the Vice Chancellor, there are a lot of issues that emanate from it. One of them is that our members that are in that university were completely out of the show, because one of the conditions they put is that somebody must have a PhD, and that person, in our own way, where we train specialists that will train medical students, it is not the PhD that is our line of training. First, for the information, is that we are in the university for 6 to 7 years, where we become MBBS holders, where it was a double degree, and our training is both academic and professional. So having a PhD alone does not suffice to for somebody to be qualified to teach in the clinical sciences. You must be a professional, and you must also have that academic standard. And it is all built in what is called the fellowship of the National Postgraduate Medical College, or the fellowship of the West African College of Physicians, or West African College of Surgeons. When we train after qualification as doctors with MBBS, we go for housemanship, we go for NYSC, and from there, we will now continue to train as fellows for the next 7 years.
What are you getting at in relation to
Hello?
Professor Odo, the Vice Chancellor of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University Akwa? So what are you getting at? Are you saying he's not qualified? Are you saying he doesn't have the prerequisites? Is that what you're saying?
What we are saying is that the first issue, the first grudge we have is that we are completely sidelined because our call for training is fellowship, and fellowship is not part of that advert, which is the usual in every university where they have a medical school. So our first grudge is that our right has been trampled upon, and then we are completely excluded from buying for that office. To now come back to your point, to your position, it is that the advert came out even before the inauguration of the council. And when you set a rule, that rule is meant to be followed. You said somebody must have a PhD, and that person, the PhD must be 9 years, and such person should be a professor of at least 15 years. So if you are now ultimately appointing somebody who is not even a professor to that position,
not a professor?
You have broken your own rule.
Who is not a professor here?
The person that they appointed, as the VC, we have all seen the current appointed Vice Chancellor by the council. They said, sorry?
Can you tell us the person's name?
Professor Odo.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right.
Professor Odo.
Right.
So you're saying Professor Odo is not a professor?
The university that he claimed to be a professor, the university that he claimed to be a professor there has denied it, and we have all seen the letters.
Okay.
There shouldn't be things like that. We are not in animal farm.
All right.
Yes, please.
Now, my understanding is that the agreement with the Ministry of Education was that all of these issues that are happening internally with the Governing Council and the Council were going to be reconciled, and things were going to be settled and dealt with before an appointment was made. What was met with your efforts for engagement? Because it's sounding as though you were not given the platform to engage. What was your experience in trying to engage with your colleagues?
We engage appropriately right from the time the advert was released. Our chapter that is directly affected, the members of that chapter came together, wrote against the advert itself, a request for its proper modification so that it will be all-inclusive. Secondly, when before the advert, we also felt that since there are no effort to make redress, we went to court to get an injunction to stall the process until the proper things are done. But despite all this, the Pro-Chancellor, without even a complete council, went ahead to call for the Senate of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, who also have the responsibility and that autonomy for the university. The Senate of that university mentioned that the advert should be redone so that it will be all-inclusive. Also, it is not only us that are sidelined. This advert was specifically tailored to a particular CV, because there is no place where it is said that somebody must attract a grant of up to 400 million naira to a particular university before you be eligible to be a vice chancellor. That means you are marketing, you are turning the academics into marketers. In that situation, you find out that a lot of other people, not just the medically qualified, were also excluded. The Senate took a decision that that advert should be redone before the process will kickstart again. The Ministry of Education, when they realized what was going on, they also go ahead to call the Governing Council. And after an exhaustive deliberation, the minister publicly advise that they should go and reconcile and make it all inclusive. But they disregard that advice. They went ahead without the participation of the Senate of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University Akwa. The Pro-Chancellor single-handedly, even without discussion, convening a full council, went ahead to inaugurate a search team who were self-appointed. And where you can prove that there is something going wrong, in that judgment that they got in the industrial court, the person who took the case to that industrial court was not even sidelined in any way, but they obtained that judgment, and that person was rewarded to be picked as one of the search team for the Vice Chancellor. And the Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Chancellor single-handedly appoint the search team and appoint the screening team without the participation of the Senate of Nnamdi Azikiwe University. That will tell you that the process were flawed. The rules and regulation guiding the appointment were not also followed duly.
Okay, I believe we have to take a very short break now, but our conversation with you will continue shortly. Okay, welcome back to the morning show here on Arise. We continue our conversation with Professor Mohammed, President of Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria. And I believe we're now joined by Professor Kingsley Ubaoji. Welcome, gentlemen. We do continue the conversation. And Rotus, I will hand over the floor to you.
Professor Mohammad is still with us. Look, Professor, thanks for sticking around. Professor, thank you so much for sticking around. My question for you is this... Rotus here, Rotus. Is this a corporate governance issue? Is that your main grouse with the process as is? Because, I'm looking at a lot of our YouTube comments here, and a lot of the viewers here are saying, listen, Nigeria has a shortage of doctors. There's a lot of them are leaving the country. You said you publish research. Some of them are asking what the research is that you're publishing there. They're basically saying, shouldn't your focus be more on, the medical issues that are facing Nigeria and how you as consultants can fix those issues as opposed to this position of Vice Chancellor? And they're also asking, is your main grouse, if it's not corporate governance, is it because of what the position you could get or advantages your association could get if one of your members was actually picked for the Vice Chancellor position? So I was hoping you could address those 2 points.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this question. This has expanded the horizon upon which we are now going to speak about. It's not just our grouse. Is not who becomes the Vice Chancellor or who of the corporate governance. What we are talking about is that in any institution, in any tertiary institution or university in Nigeria where they have a medical school, you will find out that 50% or more of the visibility of that university in terms of research and quality of the product comes from the Medical College of Medicine. And you will find out that 50% or more of the grants that are coming to those universities are also coming from the colleges of medicine. And also, you can testify that the product that we produce in Nigeria are top quality in the sense that is why they are marketable across the world, and that is why people are even coming into the country to source for them. So, based on this, you discover that we are actually living up to expectation. But in a situation whereby you are right to express yourself to the peak of your career is being threatened, then you have to react. Because our main problem now is that when we come to the second aspect of your question is that the product that we produce are top quality, and it is our responsibility to maintain that. You are aware recently the federal government or the federal coordinating minister of health made a pronouncement of doubling the enrollment of medical students and other healthcare workers. Our main concern here is that it is not just doubling the enrollment that will make us produce more, that will maintain that particular quality. There are other aspects of it. You have not talked about the trainers that are leaving the country in drones. You have not talked about infrastructures that are dilapidating and are not adequate. You are not talking about high-tech equipment where when you have large number, you will be able to train them. You can imagine, for me as a pediatric surgeon, I'm operating a 1-month-old and I have 40 students around me. How will they see? You understand? So these are some of the issues we are talking about. You have not talked about the welfare of the people who are speaking. We have advanced that to government to meet some of our demands so that we can produce more with the same quality so that they will continue to serve Nigerians. One of the demands is that you will be surprised. I am a doctor. I am a fellow of one of the colleges. I am a professor in that university like any other professor. But as a doctor, those who teaches students to become doctors, those who teaches other postgraduate students to become fellows and specialists that will serve Nigeria, you will be surprised that they are not on medical salary scale. We have been on this for several years, and every government will bring its own excuses. It is no longer acceptable to continue in this way. When you finish as a fellow on our own medical salary scale of Commerce 5, and you want to join university and also work with the hospital at the same time, is not for reasons due to our own making, but the government make us to serve both ministries at the same time, in the Ministry of Health and in the Ministry of Education, in the universities and in the teaching hospitals, where we conduct all activities of a university lecturer in the university and all activities of a consultant in the hospital. But even the medical salary scale, you are not on it. You discover that when you join the university, you are demoted from Commerce 5 to an equivalent of Commerce 3. And in that situation, you find out that the product that you produce, that you teach to become a fellow, if he joins the hospital, he is now far ahead of you from day one. This is one of the things we are trying to make correction. With the increasing number of people that are living in drones, and with the government policy of doubling the number, we have basically about 6,000 plus consultants that are working in both hospitals and universities. In our research, we found out that about 1,500 left this country in the last 5 years. And also about 1,700 are already 55 years and above. So if you have that situation whereby in the next 5 years, the number of of consultants are going to drop to half, then it is justified for us to look for increase in retirement age for those who chose and sacrifice to remain in Nigeria, to teach our students, to provide specialist healthcare services to Nigerians, and also to conduct medical researches that will improve the lot of what we are doing. We also found out that in addition, just last point, one last point, please. We also found out that when we are increasingly harassed in a system, in a university system, then we may have no option than leaving that system if it comes to that, if the government is not ready to act and ensure all inclusiveness in our career progression and in also achieving whatever position any professor can achieve in that system that is in the university system.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Aminu. That's the President, Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria. When we return, we'll have Professor Kingsley Ubaoji, the Chairman, Academic Staff Union of Universities, Nnamdi Azikiwe University Akwa. We're still talking about this VC debacle. We'll be right back. I would like to bring Mr. Professor Kingsley Ubaoji. Please tell us what is going on. We also know that there are cases in court, so we want to be careful as regards this case. But tell us what is going on as regards what is happening. Is there a political connotation going on why this person is put in there? Is there any political links, Professor, as regards the UNIZIK case?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for the question. The truth is, I cannot really talk about political, but in Nigeria, there are a lot of factors, godfatherism, political factors, that plays out most often than not. But the fact remains that the person, the purported Vice Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University is not a professor. Of course, we already know that Federal University of Gusau had denounced his claim because he was given a letter which has two critical factors. One is he has to resign from where he was before, and two, he has to bring his creative output for assessment. That is the way professors, if a professor is not assessed, he's not yet a professor. And so, those two, there is no evidence that those two was done. Because if it was done, the university would not have denounced or rejected his claim that he was appointed a professor in the university. So then, having said that, it's equally important to note that the same person, at this same time, he said he was head of department and working as a professor in Federal University of Gusau, was secretary to the state government of Ebonyi State between 2015 and 2018, the same period. And the same period, he was being promoted in Nnamdi Azikiwe University Akwa. So when you look at all this, you begin to question the person, the character that let me not say politicians, the Pro-Chancellor and the Governing Council wants to impose on the university, even without due process. Because due process demands that the full complement of council will discuss and put up an advert. But that never happened. And when ASUU wrote to the Pro-Chancellor and said, please, this is not right. In fact, the more we write to draw his attention, the more he does new things. And so we felt this man is getting out of hand. He does not. Of course, the first letter we wrote, asking him for a level playing ground, congratulating him and asking him for a level playing ground so that people will have equal opportunity of contesting. That was the only letter he replied, and assured us he would do that. But the moment he veered off and went overboard, he stopped responding to our letters, he stopped responding to our calls, he stopped giving attention. Even when Senate met, the university, of course, it is important to know that Governing Council is not superior.
Professor Ubaoji, because of fairness, is it because he stopped responding to your call and is not giving you guys space again? That's why you are now fighting him and attacking him and taking him to court as regards what has happened in the past? As we wrap up quickly.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Of course, 3 months before this, if you go over social media, you will see the same person that is appointed Vice Chancellor already on social media. People are already saying he will be the next VC, even when he has not applied. Does it not show something? Okay. So, and if you look at the advert is designed.
Okay. Prof, we need to go. The case is in court. We'll see how the court, how that proceeding pans out, as regards it. I mean, there's been a circular that you guys should withdraw the case, but I'm not sure you guys are withdrawing the case. And so let's see how it goes with the law. Thank you so much, Professor Ubaoji. And also thank you so much, Professor Mohammed, for your time.